and they were then supported. You were supported by the K-car with a 20mm cannon in it, and by fixed-wing aircraft, either propeller or jet aircraft with heavier content. Anyway, and then also with a parachute deck that contained our drops, not as lucky as our South African mates were. We never had C-130s and so on, although I did later on have the privilege to train up the first recce fire force, and we worked jointly with them, and we worked with 2 C-130s as our drop aircraft, giving us 60 troops on the ground in the second wave, and we worked with 4 Pumas. So those of you who worked in fire forces can imagine how good that was. Anyway, I'm getting taken off at a tangent here. Let's talk about the fire force. We were sitting at the Beitbridge airfield, and normally a hot day. It was a very hot area for guerrillas, for gooks, and they were pushing, the numbers were pushing in. It was coming towards the end of the time there. Ceasefire was about to happen, and they were coming in 200, 300 at a time. They were crossing the country down in the southeast corner near Crook's Corner, and they were coming into my part of real estate in the Beitbridge area, and they were setting up food transit supply camps, and then heading up the axis north to Salisbury on the old Fort Vic road, using that as the road in, and on the road northwest to Bulawayo, the Bulawayo road. So we had OPs out, observation points out in the Mtatengwe tribal area. On top of the hills, these were scouts guys, Wally's guys and so on, deployed in small 2-man groups, went in there clandestine at night, often walking barefoot so as not to be detected. They'd get in, they'd get on top of these koppies. The area was inundated with koppies like the Matopus, and they would be in position there for a week, 2 weeks at a time, and they would just observe and would watch. Now this area was a depleted area in that we had moved all the local population out to keeps, and but they did, however, get out of those keeps and come back and were helping the gooks on the sideline. And we were sitting on the airfield. Suddenly the siren went, meaning it was a fire force call out. Myself and the K-car pilot Dick ran to the little ops tent and got a quick briefing, and we would brief the rest of the guys in our flight, and we rushed to our aircraft, us going ahead to the lead K-car in the front, and behind us the G-cars, and behind that the fixed wing Lynx, and behind that the Paras. Okay, we got airborne, doing a rolling takeoff down the runway. We're going, flying at hell-bent speed right on top of the trees. We had 20 minutes to go to the target area. The pilot briefed the other aircraft. All the stops in the aircraft could hear what he was saying. The call sign, the scouts call sign, had seen big build-up in the area, maybe 40 to 60 gooks in a dry riverbed, and they were being fed by a bunch of African women carrying food on their heads. We were flying in. I had my eyes closed, contemplating how it was going to unfold, trying to get my mind around the whole thing, when suddenly the K-car pilot announced K-car 2 minutes out, meaning we were 2 minutes from the target. Time to wake up, get my act together. And remember, I was going in backwards. You sit in reverse to the K-car pilot, and next thing the K-car pilot said, 1 minute out, K-car pulling up. And he pulled up overhead the target area where the OP was, and I threw the white canister smoke out the open door. At that point in time, we came under a hail of fire from the ground up. The aircraft was struck several times. It was just, like I say, hail coming up. There were green hornets flying all over the place. The floor was just coming up like silver paper having pencils shoved through it. That's how it looked. And these little green hornets were flying all around and zinging off the frame of the aircraft. I felt a big smack in the arm. The pilot had blood sprayed all over his mask, and he gave me a thumbs up. He was fine. The K-car gunner, Beaver, was on the gun, the 20mm gun, and I heard him say, Gook's visual at 4 o'clock, KK firing, and he opened fire. From that moment on, it was a great big game of chess that one plays up there. And I was deploying stops on the ground. Stop 1, you'll go to this river junction and that path junction. Stop 2, yeah, stop 3 there, and so on, face this way, and all the rest of it. The control of the fire force is done by the Army commander, the senior Army commander, in this particular case me, and number 2 by the Air Force commander, in this case the chopper, the KK pilot. And we would liaise anything requiring aircraft, like can we send a G car to pick guys up over there? He would say done, and he would then call and organize the G car. Or if I wanted troops put there, he would say, okay, I'll send these aircraft to do it, and so on. So it was a very much hands-on thing with both of us, and worked tremendously well. While this was all going on, Beaver was firing at the Gooks on the ground. Fire was incoming. Suddenly a guy started shouting, incoming, incoming. You've got an RPG-7 rocket coming at you. We could see this big circle of dust on the ground, and Dick casually dipped the aircraft to the right, and we dived down about 20-30 feet to get out of the direct line of sight of that rocket, and the rocket exploded not too far away from us. They self-destructed 1,000 meters, I believe. Anyway, all of this was going on, a lot of hype, call signs throwing white smoke, showing there was contact going on here, and white smoke contact going on there. And I was asking the guys if they needed any help and so on. Suddenly, bang, blue smoke in the middle. Oh my goodness, must be a casualty. The smoke, the different color smoke, demarcated different things, and blue smoke was for a casualty. So I said, blue smoke, give us a sit rep. He said, you won't believe this, Björn, one of our guys, Brian Björn, in the stop on the ground, has got vomiting and diarrhea, and he can't carry on. So I said, okay. Looked at the KK pilot, what can we do about it? He said, Red 3, go in, pick that guy up and put him on that highest gomo over there, and we'll sort him out later. So in went the chopper. The rest of the things were going on. Another call sign on the ground said, we've come under very heavy fire from some thick stuff. We put in the strike with the Lynx. I decided at this time that we would deploy the Dakota, the paratroopers. We had 16 paratroopers in there. You can have 20, but in this time, because of the heat and against the altitude at the low level there, we had 16. They were on loan to us from RER. They were black soldiers, very good guys, and they hit the deck in an old field there. I got it marked by one of the G cars. The KK pilot sent him off there. And we then got these guys together as a sweep line to sweep down on the thick bit of jess that was giving my guys a hard time on the ground, after we'd put in the strike with the Lynx. The RER guys I didn't know, but there were 16 of them. 14 of them had MAGs, belt-fed machine guns for the civvies who don't know, and 2 of them had rifles, the R1 or FNs. And that was the platoon warrant officer and the platoon sergeant. And we kept them in an extended line, and they marched forward 5 paces, would go down on their knee, and then give a burst of fire into the clump of trees. You can imagine each weapon pushes out, I think, a rate, and RSM be able to correct me if I'm wrong, 1,200 rounds a minute, was pouring into the target. Anyway, once they cleared the target, and I think 6 Gooks were killed there and so on, the punch-up carried on. We carried on deploying troops. We put in dummy drops, meaning we used helicopters to land in different places, making the Gooks on the ground think that there were more of us than there were. The other helicopters went back to the land tail, which was opposite us, and brought in more troops, and the punch-up went on, and so it went on. The whole time you have to try and keep it cool. You have to try and remember which call signs are where, and it gets a little bit confusing. Just to sort of emphasize my point, I'll tell you that one time I had 47 stops on the ground. So anyway, time was running out now. The guys had done a tremendous job. We'd killed a lot of the enemy. They were dragging the guys into a collective zone where we'd be collecting them, picking up weapons, picking up documents for information and so on. It was starting to get dark. The helicopters were flying back out, and I said to the KK pilot, well done, Dick, we did a great scene, well done everybody. And we're just about to leave the area when this little voice came on the radio. Sunray, don't forget this is Bien, I'm still sitting on the Gomo. We forgot old Bien on the hill. Anyway, we went up there, put the spotlight on, one of the G cars pulled him out, and we all pulled back. We would come in back the next day. I left out stops there, long stops, in case anybody had broken through and would run into our ambush positions later. We got back to Budbridge, thoroughly exhausted, drained, had showers and everything, and then I ordered lots and lots of beers, and we sat around a big fire. Guys had steak, egg and chips, and all the war stories started flowing. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you because I think it's important to know that that's the kind of thing that was going on almost on a daily basis. As Fire Force, we were there for 6 weeks at a time. Those call-outs were every day. Sometimes I went out one time, 5 times in one day. Nigel Henson had broken the record, it was 8 times in one day. So you can see there was a tremendous amount of action going on and a lot of stress and strain on the guys. That day we were particularly lucky. We didn't have any casualties apart from the old Sunray getting one in the arm and Dick a bit of shrapnel in the face. But that's how it went. Thank you, and the rest of it I think we should remember our fallen heroes from that time.
Thank you, Don. That was, I'm sure that was enlightening for a lot of people.